So tell me about working with DEA informant in 2000. What were you doing?
Oh God, that was a trip. Well, you know, Javier Peña.
Mm-hmm.
There was a you know cartel or Narcos fame, whatever.
Yep.
He and my brother were best buddies down in Bogota. JJ was ATF down in Bogota, and he and Javier ran around together.
Okay, wait a minute. So quick question before you tell this story. I guess I didn't really fully realize how many foreign offices does ATF have?
Not many, not many. We had JJ actually pioneered the Latin America because we didn't have one,
Okay.
but because gun running became such a central focus of one of the ATF's, crown jewels, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
They started putting more assets involved with it. Well, nobody was down there, so JJ, as experienced as he was, said, "Hey, you know what? I'll go ahead and get that thing going." So he went out there. Of course, ATF doesn't have any funds to provide places for us to go, and of course, the embassy doesn't have room for you. So DEA, was the only logical place to go.
Yeah.
So he found a home at DEA doing ATF stuff,
Mm.
which worked out well because you guys, work differently than we do,
Yeah.
have a lot more latitude than we do. But he was on a short leash, but what ATF doesn't know won't hurt them. So he was basically doing what he wanted to do, and Javier kind of helped him with a lot of stuff, and it worked out because he was getting a lot of intel, and he said, "Hey, uh, DEA will take me where I need to go, and if they can't do it, CIA will do it, right?"
Hmm.
So he was collecting a lot of good intelligence down there because you have the narcos down there, you had terrorist organizations and stuff, but he was basically trying to identify the sources of all the guns that they're recovering
Hmm.
uh, per ATF's mandate. So that's what he was doing down there. And so he and Javier became good friends. And so Javier, after Escobar was caught, Javier came back stateside and ended up as a SAC here in Houston. And out of the blue, he calls me up and said, "Hey, come on over." So I went over there and said, "I got an informant for you." And so, okay. So, met with the guy, and he's from, someplace, Paraguay, someplace. But anyway, um, I was able to develop my Spanish by working the guy. But long and short, he was turning us on to big, big deals, right? And it was more like, this is probably a little bit out of what I'm comfortable doing, right? We're talking, you know, helicopters and all that kind of stuff. Like, no, no, we're not going to do that. So he puts us on to a guy who was Colombian and was trying to coordinate a shipment of Takarovs from China, a container load, right? Takarovs, 9 millimeter. And so I said, well, okay, I'm all in for that, right? Illegal importation of guns. And well, that's also a customs violation. It was primarily a customs violation, but we're talking about, hey, I can play with this.
Yeah.
And so I meet there in the gallery area, three guys in suits. And so I'm thinking, okay, we'll play with this. And well, I leave and I get my radio in. I said, Roland, you're being followed. So okay, so I'm dusting off. I'm driving all over the place until I don't have a tail anymore. And then I go back to the ATF and we debrief. This man, there's somebody else is on this deal. I mean, they're not crooks. These guys are like look like us, right? I said something's not right. So I start trying to deconflict. I'm calling everybody, even Secret Service, CIA, DEA, the locals, everybody, customs even, and you know the way it is, I think with customs, they don't even know what their own people are doing. Like say here in Houston, if say something from the West Coast is in town, they're not going to tell their people.
Mm.
And so that's probably what was happening because we did two deals, and it was clearly going to be a blue on blue. And I said, "No, we need to, because we're talking about $3 million or $2 million, something like that. And then we're talking about letters of credit and all that kind of stuff. Hey, this is not your typical crooks, right?"
Yeah.
And so I backed away from it, but we still stayed on the main target, the Colombian. And he turned us on to a different other deal. So I brought in another undercover agent. I backed away from it because now we're just talking about kilos of cocaine. and it's going to be a straight rip. They were going to rip us off, basically. So the CI, the informant, is with this Colombian, and I'm watching everything. And the deal gets taken down. 3 guys show up, each with a set of handcuffs, and I'm talking to the guy on the hood of the car, and he said, "Hey, yeah, we're gonna rob your guy, kill him, and kidnap him, kill him, and take the money." Right.
Wow.
So that was gonna be a straight rip. Well, anyway, I've got this Colombian I'm talking to within the car, and he goes, "Man," he says, "who was that guy?" I go, "What are you talking about?" Talking about my informant. He says, "He said if I didn't make this deal go, he's gonna cut my balls off." Thinking, holy shit, right? So I'm starting to listen, and all of a sudden there's a break in the conversation. I'm going, son of a bitch. He shut off the Niagara.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, I wanted to call Javier and say thank you, you know.
Yeah.
But we did a couple of deals together. Some turned out okay, or a couple turned out okay, but the others I wasn't too sure about. So I kicked them loose.